Dragons. It is your girl Lindsay here with the Spine Bookcast, Spine Bookshop, with our third episode of season 2, the Spine Bookcast. It's a Sunday morning and it's early here, so here we are. Our guest today is G. Edward Martin, or Greg.
Yes, hello.
And he is our very first TikTok author that we have in the shop. He was the very first one. And his books, The Blueberry Daughter, The Nobody Who Fought a Dragon, which by far the cover of that is my favorite, and Truth and Evil are the 3 books that he have in our shop. And we met on TikTok and are very quickly becoming fast friends. So
it's funny how life goes. So you were on a live, TikTok live.
Yeah.
And then there was like an invite to join, and I logged in. And I've been on lives before where it's like you're a guest.
Sure.
And yours was like, oh, actually join. And then I was like, oh shit, I'm live with you. I'm
yeah,
like,
no.
hey,
If I see an author, I'm like, yeah, come on. Let's come
So then
on.
I was like, hey, you're actually down the road. I'm going to come in today and come talk with you.
I thought that was so cool that you did that.
I'm literally 8 minutes away. I was like, it would
that's
be
hilarious.
ridiculous if we didn't connect.
I think that's hilarious.
Yeah.
So, all right, let's get into it. How did you start reading?
Let me ask you first, what is a book dragon?
Okay, so everybody talks about bookworm, right? Okay. The whole thing got started. So there's a big stuffed dragon back there named Myrtle, okay? So when I started the bookshop, I decided, okay, we need a gimmick to get everybody to pay attention. I'll have a naming contest for the dragon because my mom made that dragon.
No kidding.
Yeah, the big green one with the horn. Yeah, so she sewed it and made it.
That's kind of cool.
And so,
those droopy like basset hound eyes.
I know.
That's fun. That's a good time.
I love it. So my mom said it's a boy. I decided it's whatever the name is. It doesn't matter. It's a stuffed dragon. And so one of our authors ended up, I just wrote everybody's name in a Dropbox, and I randomly pulled one after a week, and it was Myrtle. So I don't know if people just thought like the spine meant like the dragon spine or what, but people started bringing me dragons.
Okay.
And
I was asking because there's a couple people I follow on TikTok who are like, so-and-so book dragon. I was like, is this something I don't know about?
I think it's like a bookworm that is
maybe it's fantasy.
I think it's a bookworm that inhales books a little faster. So therefore they needed a more powerful name. Book dragon. It kind of became book dragon because everybody kept bringing me dragons. I think we have 65 dragons in here now.
No kidding.
Yeah, because I put a little piece of white out on every single one, and I have a number for them.
Ooh.
So that, I occasionally,
inventory.
so I know how much I have. And they all have names, which is
they are
really funny.
all over here, aren't they?
Yes.
Like every little nook and cranny's got a dragon.
Yes. And then that's our big one, and we got dragons everywhere.
Oh, I love the paper, not paper mache, but it's like, you can't see this on the podcast, but there's these newspapers with like red paint.
Yeah, here you go.
Flames. It's kind of cool.
There you go.
It's pretty damn cool, honestly.
We're also doing a live on TikTok while we're recording our podcast. So if you see us randomly answering a question, that's what that is.
Right. And I will say, if you've never been in here, this is an amazing store. It's fun. I don't know, it's just good vibes in here. I like how it feels in the shop.
I feel like if my brain were a bookshop, this is what it would look like this.
I suppose that it is a reflection of your brain, this whole bookshop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My friend Sunny says that I'm a maximalist.
Okay.
Because if I can find a nook or cranny in here to stick something, I will find some way to cram it with something.
Yeah. I see that, but in the best possible way. But I'm just like, there is so much.
It's not in a hoarder kind of way. Nothing against hoarders, but everything has its place.
Right.
And there's a reason for it being there.
Yeah, the feng shui is good. Honestly, it doesn't feel like disorganized, even though there is a lot going on. It doesn't feel cluttered somehow, which is an interesting balance. That's difficult to do.
Yeah, it's a weird. And every time somebody brings me something, I start looking around. Okay, where can I put this?
Right. Like, okay, we got to find one little nook and cranny.
Yeah, somewhere.
Yeah.
So
anyway, in terms of how I became a reader.
How did you become a reader?
Got to bear with me here, because
okay.
I read almost no books in high school.
Okay.
I never liked being told what to do.
Sure.
I didn't like being told what to read, this and that and the other thing.
Sure, nobody does.
Right, and it's no coincidence I now own several small businesses because I'm not cut out to work for other people per se. I want to do my thing.
I feel that.
Yeah, so in high school I didn't read a lot. I was very like active, outdoorsy. Like I just want to go fishing. I want to like ride my bike, play basketball, do this and that. But there are books that you come across along the way that like really connect with you. So the one that got me was this book called The Hot Zone about the Ebola virus.
I've read that.
Oh, it was unbelievable.
I've read that. It's been a really long time.
It never occurred to me like how cool books could be and how much amazing information and stories were out there, right? Like as a kid, I mean, I had kind of a narrow. I was very present, which isn't bad, right? Like
no, that's good.
Like, hey, I'm playing in the art. I'm doing this. I'm doing that. I'm not thinking about like all the stuff I don't know. But yeah, that's kind of when I discovered that like books are amazing.
You have proved the point. You just proved it. The point that I've always said. One, reading does not have to be a chore.
No.
And two, just because fiction is the most prevalent thing out there for readers does not mean that's the only thing out there for readers.
There's a lot out there.
Right. Yeah. But the fact that you chose a book about the Ebola virus and that's what kicked it off for you just supports the thing that I've always said, that if you don't like reading, it just means you haven't found the book to get you yet.
Yeah, there's something out there for everyone.
I think so too.
And it's hard to tell what it's going to be. I mean, I'm kind of a late adopter, so like I'm not usually the person to try a new book.
Sure.
As much as like you hear a recommendation from someone you really trust and you're like, yeah, I got to figure out what's in there.
Right.
And I don't know, I'm slowly working through the classics now that, you know, like it took a while for me to gain the appreciation for like how much wonderful literature and information is out there. And I think about sometimes you read an old book, right? Like Crime and Punishment, and you're like, people who lived a long time ago communicating with us today.
Yeah.
Teaching us what they learned so that we don't have to make the same mistakes and learn everything the hard way. And I'm like,
I struggle with the classics.
Do you?
Because some of them are just like, okay, none of these people are nice people. I don't like a single one of these people. This story is stupid and it's boring.
Yeah, there's a lot like that. So like, okay, for example, I think history is very important, right?
Right.
My wife never connected with history because it's always dry. It's like this date.
I've said that too, that history is fascinating. You just have to find the person to, instead of just in 1984, blah, 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 blah,
right? It's like,
give me the story.
Who were the people? What did they think? How did they live? What was their journey? So like A Tale of Two Cities, I think is one of the greatest of all time.
Really?
Oh yeah.
I hate that book so much.
I think it is one of the most fascinating books.
Oh my God. I think that I've come to determine that entire period of literature makes me want to stab my eyes out.
Like the way they wrote or just the people themselves?
It's the way they wrote. Like Dickens, Bronte, all of it. It's just like watching paint dry.
I feel like they are poetic and have, like they make the English language beautiful. Like, I'll give you an example.
I'll give you that. Okay, yes.
I'll tell you an example. Being an English author, it's difficult because English is not beautiful. The other day, my wife walked in, I was eating, and she's like, "What do you have?" And I was like, "I didn't know what it was called." I was like, "It's a meat pocket." And she's like, "That sounds horrible." I was like, "You mean an empanada?" I was like, "Oh yeah, an empanada." Like, English is not a pretty language by any means. You know what I mean? Meat pocket. Well, what the hell is an empanada except a meat pocket? That's what an empanada is. It's a freaking meat pocket. So anyway, English isn't pretty. So you're at a disadvantage. Like if I could write in Italian or French, I'm sure it'd be lovely. Greek, I'm sure is lovely. Latin.
Sure.
Lovely.
Yeah. Empanada.
Empanada is lovely.
And then Americans, of course, meat pocket.
Yes.
We take all the sexiness out of it.
We do. So we're at a disadvantage.
Hot pocket.
I feel like the Charles Dickens era of writing, their English was beautiful. I mean, just like poetic, gorgeous English. And today we're not particularly sophisticated. We're going back to hieroglyphs with the emojis and all this stuff.
Sure.
I will say really quick.
Oh my God. I didn't even put that together.
That we're going back to like Egyptian times with emojis, and
I did not even think about it that way.
Smiley face, and you'll know like, oh, let's meet up at midnight and have a laugh. And you're like, what?
Oh my God.
Yeah, we're reverting back to, maybe it is more sophisticated. Maybe a picture's worth 1,000 words, and we can say a lot more and a lot less. But I just hope we don't see books that are. Oh.
I swear to God, if I become a time traveler and I go 100 years in the future and I see an eggplant and it means anything anything other than what it means, I'm gonna be so disappointed.
You'd be like, oh, what? Like everyone just got into vegetables,
Like, right?
It's actually where that means I'm a homesteader. That means I have a nice garden at home. Like, oh, okay.
Oh, that's terrible.
Yeah, no, it's. I was thinking in the near future, probably there's going to come a time when kids are going to be like, "What does it mean to hit the gas pedal?" Like, what do you mean hit the gas? Because kids now are like, "What do you mean hang up the phone?"
My kid asked me what the clutch was the other day.
Ooh, see, that's where we are. And you're like, ooh.
And I mean, I drive an automatic.
I mean, everyone does. Now.
But I could theoretically still get in a
stick shift.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And it would take me about a 30-second remembrance
like,
to get the balance back.
Right.
Because I could do it.
It's gonna first. But
it would take me a minute.
Wait a second. I've only done it a few times. I wish I had more. But even like the option to learn, it's like there are almost no stick shift cars floating around anymore, except like the classics. But no one's gonna let you drive their old Mustang.
When Nissan came out here from California, I was doing a bunch of temp jobs. And so one of the jobs was my temp company called and they said, "Do you know how to drive a stick?" And I said, "Yeah, I can drive a stick." Sure. Yeah. And they're like, "Well, we need people to pick up a car at the Smyrna Nissan,
just
drive it out to Franklin, pick up the bigwigs and drive them around Franklin so that they can get." And I was like, "Yeah, I can do that, no problem." So I'm 5'4" and I roll up and there are all these big dudes.
Right.
I'm the only woman, and they all looked at me and I was like, "Hi, how's it going?"
They're like, "Hey, up there." Yeah.
And they said, "Which car do you want?" I said, "I want the biggest car that you have." And literally all these big dudes are sitting here watching me literally have to like wait for the little step stool to pull out from underneath the car so that I can get in the car and then, whomp all
like
the
I'm
way
going all the
up
way to
the
the front,
steering
like
wheel.
up on the, yeah.
And I was just like, this is awesome. I will never own a car this big. And having a
right,
so
like
that
pumping
you
up, like, I
get
can't even
above
see
the
over
steering
there.
wheel.
Yeah.
And they're all laughing at me. I was like, shut up.
Be like, give me a minute. Damn it.
I'm gonna get this in here, and like the stereo was booming. It was great. I was like, I will never have one of these, but this is fun.
This is fun right now. Yeah.
Yes.
This is cool for a job.
Yes, I can drive a stick, and I'm all.
So, what year was that? Because Nissan, I've only been here about 4 years.
10 years ago,
okay.
Maybe longer. Because let's see, my daughter's 13. I would say it's 10, 11 years ago.
Yeah, okay. I'm sure this area has changed tremendously in those 13 years. Like, probably unrecognizable.
It may be longer than that if my math's not right. I can't remember. But it just was really funny to me. Do you know how to drive a stick? Yeah, I can drive a stick. Why? Yeah.
That's pretty good.
Because none of those guys knew how to drive a stick.
Oh, interesting.
I was like,
there's not a lot of places to get practice in.
Right.
It's like,
well, she asked me that, and I'm standing there, and the guy comes out and he goes, "Who knows how to drive a stick?" And I raised my hand, fully prepared for all the other guys. I was like,
"Wait, I'm the only one." You're like,
"Oops. Y'all don't know how to drive a stick?"
Like, I guess it's just me then.
Oh. So Janine, who is a friend of mine, she said that she loves how the bookstore looks. Thank you.
Yes, 100%. Feels good in here.
That's my goal.
It's cozy and it's warm, and I'm surrounded by ideas. And ideas inspire more ideas.
I think so, too.
This is good vibes.
Yes. I have tried to make it that way.
It's good. Yes. I will say really quick on the how did you get into reading subject, I was an unlikely candidate to ever be an author.
Really?
It took me a long time to learn how to read. Like, the school called my mom and was like, "We think your kid has a problem. Like, he's going to need special things."
Really?
I was great. I was always great at drawing, loved math and science, but it took me forever to learn how to read. I couldn't connect the dots. And then, like, grammar and things, couldn't figure it out. Like, no one explained it to me in a way that connected, and then I also didn't have the passion to let it connect. So, like, those are my worst subjects. Like, I was great at writing essays later on.
I think the reason why, and this is just my opinion, that our generation, how old are you?
33.
Okay, so I'm 47, so I still consider that decade a generation.
Millennial.
Yeah. So we grew up, I think, with the process of reading being a chore.
Yeah.
You're supposed to read this. You have to read this.
Right.
And it takes all the fun out of it. And there's the train. There we go.
Well, at least they warned people. That intersection over there always scares me. When I'm going over the tracks.
Oh, yeah,
you get a lot of warning. You turn and they're like, you're on
there
the tracks.
It is.
Like,
yes.
oh, okay.
No, I think it takes the fun out of reading when you have to read stuff, and usually it's very dry stuff that are considered classics.
Right.
When, but of course, then you have stuff like Edgar Allan Poe.
Right. You're like, whoa.
Yeah.
What is
So
this? Yeah.
everybody, I tell this story, and everybody just gives me the same look I know you're going to give me. So my
You're gonna
junior.
tell me like The Great Gatsby. I'm like,
Oh no, I love The Great
I
Gatsby.
can't deal with it. Okay, but you've
I get
got
it.
Dickens. I got The
Yeah,
Great
yeah.
Gatsby.
No, so all right, we were reading Edgar Allan Poe, and my English teacher, Mrs. Rose, who was junior and senior English teacher, decided that we had to make a classroom Christmas tree ornament based on Edgar Allan Poe.
Is it just all crows and ravens?
No, yeah, well, yes, a lot of that. There were crows and ravens and hearts and all this kind of stuff, right? Then there's me, and I brought in a styrofoam eyeball that had melted wax on it to look like pus, and red sparkly veins coming out the back, and the eye looked all swollen and cranky because it was the telltale heart with the eye.
Okay.
And my English teacher just looks at me and goes, okay.
Like, you understood the assignment a little too well. Perhaps.
She still has the eye. When she was principal of the high school, it would sit.
No.
Yes, and she said people would come in and they'd eyeball, and she goes, yeah, it was one of my former students that irritated me. And she said that they would sit there and you could tell they were debating on whether she was serious or not.
Like, people would keep, like, the Greek evil eye on the wall. She would just keep this, like, red eyeball.
Yes. But it was so funny because the Christmas tree is really beautiful until you see this pussy, infected
like, what is
eyeball.
That? Yeah, just like ruined the whole vibe. You're like, wow, this doesn't feel like a time of celebration. You're like,
no, but yeah, she just looks at me and just kind of went, of course.
Like, that would be.
Yes, that is Lindsay.
That's pretty good. That's pretty good. How did you get into reading or like discover your love for it?
I just could not. That would be my line.
No.
I could not read. Like, I don't remember a time when I didn't have a book in my hand.
Interesting. Okay.
My parents read, my mom especially read to me like crazy.
Nice.
And then she got really frustrated because I'm like, no, I want to read. And it would just be gobbledygook because I couldn't read yet. But then once I started reading, it was over.
You're like, I can't stop. Yeah.
Yeah, so I entered kindergarten with an almost second grade reading level.
Oh, interesting. Yeah. And I've just been at this for so long, and just like.
Well, like, for example, when the list came out for the banned books, and Wilson County took out the 450, and then Rutherford County is like got 100 and something. I went through the list and was like, read it. And by the time I got done, I figured I've read 95% of both lists.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I just kind of thought, I read a lot of crap.
I've read some things in my day. Huh?
Yeah. I mean, I read 120 books last year.
No kidding.
On Goodreads.
Like, you're that prolific with your reading.
I just read so fast.
Yeah, I don't.
But I also listen to audiobooks.
Right, the audiobooks works for me just like with my schedule and everything. Yeah. It's such a, like, especially like Crime and Punishment or some like War and Peace.
I'm listening to Clockwork Orange.
Oh, I bet that's an interesting list.
It is very odd in that it's the OG one, so it's written with a lot of the English slang.
Right, okay. Like,
so it's taken me a minute to go, okay, that means hands. Okay, that means face. That means,
I used to work with an Englishman, and he was from like northern England, like kind of almost like the country.
Sure.
And like I would normally understand him, but he'd get excited, and I didn't know what the hell he was saying. And like I've been trying for years to get an imitation of this guy because it was like when Austin Powers and his dad are talking, and it's like
that's what it's like.
I'm like, I have no idea what that. I know it's
What's
English,
the movie with Brad Pitt? And it's the Guy Ritchie movie, and he plays the Irish guy, and it's that. I don't understand a flipping word that anybody said in that movie. And I love Guy Ritchie movies.
Oh, me too.
But 100%. Like, I was sitting there watching going, what?
You're like, I need subtitles.
No idea what the hell you just said.
I need translated subtitles. Oh, I love Guy Ritchie. I'm glad he did Sherlock Holmes. Sherlock Holmes is one of my all-time favorites.
One of my favorite movies that he did was The Gentleman.
The Gentleman was outstanding. That was a good one.
Have you seen the TV show?
I did. I enjoyed the TV show.
So
I enjoyed the TV show.
They're coming back for season 2, and I'm so excited.
I'm like, because they kind of like left you without, like, things are coming together, but they're still apart, right?
Yeah.
It's like, okay, there's a lot left in this journey.
I love that. I've discovered, like, Pushing Daisies does the same thing. Zoe Bakurin, who writes, does the same thing. It's this highbrow vocabulary, rapid fire, back and forth,
Yeah, 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 yeah.
And it's so fast, and
Yeah.
it's just goes like a train.
Yes.
And it's so good though, because the writing is so highbrow.
Yeah.
And like I said the same thing with Shakespeare. There's a rhythm to it, and it takes you a minute. Like Zoe, I called her when I started reading Bring Back My Bonnie. I said, "Did you watch Pushing Daisies?" And she said, "Yes, that's how I wrote the book." And I said, "I can tell."
Interesting.
Because it's Pushing. Did you ever see Pushing Daisies?
No.
Okay,
No.
so Pushing Daisies had Lee Pace in it, and he played a guy that could resurrect somebody by touching them.
Oh, interesting.
Okay. But if you touched you again, you were dead. Like, that was it. But everything was in, like, the Wizard of Oz hyper pixelated color. So blues were, like, really blues, and red were hyper reds, and everything was,
like seizure-inducing,
you know, almost, but it was really pretty, and it was the way they would talk was rapid fire back and forth.
Right.
And it was really fun.
Right.
And then the writer's strike happened, and then it killed it. But it was so good. Because it was highbrow.
I like highbrow.
I do too.
Yeah. No, I love the English.
Mm-hmm.
Like
anything Monty Python.
Yes.
Anything.
Okay, since my name is Greg, people send me Old Greg videos all the time. You ever see Old Greg?
No.
It was like a skit from like The Mighty Boosh or some English show.
Okay.
People watching this will know what I'm talking about, but yeah, you got to watch Old Greg after this.
Okay.
Holy shit.
Terry Gilliam, anything he does, like the Time Bandits, so weird.
Yeah.
Baron Munchausen and the Adventures of Baron Munchausen. And it's got Robin Williams with a flying head. Like, it's just, you watch it and you're kind of going, what the hell am I watching?
Who are the minds that came up with this? I have a quick English story, by the way.
Okay,
this is actually very interesting trivia and comedy. So I made a video on TikTok that was like, why do they call it a fanny pack if you wear it on the front? Like, it should be called, obviously, a pelvis pouch. Okay? So all these Englishmen were like, well, actually, it's called a fanny pack because a fanny means something totally different in England. And I was like, what does fanny mean in England? They're like, it means vagina. And I was like, oh, that makes total sense. And I was like, wait a second. Okay, I'm going to look it up online. If an American invented the fanny pack, I'm going to launch a petition, rename it the pelvis pouch. But if it's English, we'll keep it fanny pack. I looked it up. It was invented by a lady in Australia who was watching kangaroos. And she was like, oh, I need one of those.
I love that you called it a pelvis pack.
Pelvis pouch.
Because that is literally, my brain immediately went straight to the gutter. And I was like, I don't think that I could look at
a fanny pack ever again.
Ever.
So, because it was invented by a lady watching kangaroos, for everyone live on TikTok, in Spanish it's called a kangarera.
Nice.
Fanny pack in Spanish, and Spanish is much prettier than English. Here we are.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, English is not as pretty as it could be. So if you ever find yourself with a kangarera, it was invented by a lady in Australia. A pelvis pouch makes sense to me, but fanny means something totally different in the UK. And in Australia by extension.
I love that a fanny is another name for a vagina.
Right, in a totally different place.
That...
Like, if...
I want someone to literally go through and just, like, American words that sound better in another language. And what they mean in that language.
And just be careful, right? Like,
yeah, just give me all the hilariousness.
Like, so if you're in an English was like, oh, this woman's got an amazing fanny, he'd be like, I don't know what it's like. She let you see it or something? Or they might say some crazy thing. Like, it doesn't make any sense at all. Yeah, anyway.
Yeah.
Not to get too off track.
No, Americans always, I love America, don't get me wrong, but God, we can screw some things up.
Yeah, no, we don't do everything right.
No.
But we're a work in progress. And I like that, we can refine what we're doing over time.
Yes.
Hopefully.
We have some people that you're like, yeah, okay. But, all right, so what is your favorite kids book?
Well, favorite kids book?
Because you have a kid.
I have a kid.
Have you started cultivating a library for them yet?
So he just started. Okay, so we're on the whole Dolly Parton thing. So if you're in Tennessee,
I was too.
If you're in Tennessee, and Dolly Parton will send your kid a book, like
every month for the first 5 years of their life.
Shout out to Dolly Parton. You are America's sweetheart. We love you.
I would vote for Dolly Parton for president.
I named a dog. I found, so last Christmas, not 24.
We love Dolly Parton here in Tennessee
we
to
do.
an abnormally obsessive level.
But she's amazing. Like Dolly's the best.
If I ever met her, I'd die.
Honestly. So a dog showed up on my doorstep Christmas 2023.
Mm-hmm.
It was a blonde beagle,
and
she's older, she's Southern, and my wife's like, what are we going to name her? I was like,
Dolly Parton.
So I have a dog named Dolly Parton, but she sends books to my son all the time, and they're amazing, and we appreciate that.
I have a dog named John McClane, so...
Does he like to hide in the vents?
Okay, so my best friend Jessica and I have been friends since we were 10 years old.
Okay.
There is a series of movies that people will not watch with us anymore, and we are very aware of how annoying we are together, because when you've been friends with someone for almost 40 years...
You got your inside jokes.
Yeah. So Die Hard, we saw Die Hard together with my mom in the movie theater the first run out.
No kidding.
Yeah.
That's pretty damn cool.
So it's not Christmas until we watch it together.
No, then it's like,
even if we are like sitting on the phone texting each other back and forth, we watch it together.
Like we're both tuned in.
So she got a cat that's red and named it Hans Gruber, with the understanding that the next dog that we got, I was gonna name it, and its name is John McClane.
Oh, they're mortal enemies.
Yes.
Yeah. What was who's the blonde guy, the Swedish guy?
He was also in Money Pit, which is one of the funniest movies I've ever seen in my entire life.
What do they call that guy?
I know exactly who you're talking about.
Yeah, we have to, but when you said like, okay, we got a blonde cat or something.
Oh yeah.
Anyway. Yeah.
So yes.
So you two know all the lines, and then when anyone watches the movie with you, I'm sure it's
annoying, and I realize how annoying it is. We just don't care.
Can't help it.
We really can't.
Yeah.
Jaws.
Yeah.
Is up there. Like we know all the words to the song.
There you go. There's certain movies like when they're on, you do not turn them off. You're like,
no, I don't care where it is in the movie. That's what we're watching now.
We're doing the thing. Yeah.
Indiana Jones.
Yeah.
I'll even obligingly accept the third one, although I really liked the last one.
I don't know if I saw the last one.
It felt like a love story to all the Indiana Jones fans. Like, we're really sorry about the fourth movie, so we're gonna make the fifth movie and apologize.
Yeah, but like, listen, we owe you all an apology.
We owe you.
As fans, you put your faith in us, and we let you down.
Yeah.
Let us
I don't have necessarily a problem with the fourth one because I mean, it's Steven Spielberg. And Indiana Jones, how did you not think aliens weren't going to come into there somehow?
There's got to be something, right?
Because, hello. And I mean, like, the first Steven Spielberg movie I ever saw was Close Encounters of the Third Kind. Still one of my favorite movies ever made.
Yeah, no, he was, I don't know what it was recently. Maybe it's like the pressure from the studios. There's a weird thing with movies. And Lindsay and I were talking about this before.
Yes.
There's so many amazing books and authors, but every movie and show is some remake. Like, they... don't want to invest the money and take a chance and maybe not get it back. So they're like, let's redo Ghostbusters again.
No!
Like, stop.
Please stop.
Stop taking something that was great and classic and
running it into the ground.
Right, and ruining its legacy kind of thing. Like, let's try some new ideas.
Have you seen the meme about Michael Bay and the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles? So somebody drew a turtle, okay? So wrong. As a man behind the turtle, humping the turtle.
No.
Okay? And the arrow to the stick figure was Michael Bay. And the arrow to the turtle said, my childhood.
No.
You're not entirely wrong.
Well, don't do it, but yeah, kind of, yeah. There's a few that, I don't know, even like I was watching, it was like the new Bad Boys movie. And like Bad Boys 1 and 2 was so much fun.
I'm not watching it.
Okay, it was like Jerry Bruckheimer, and I was like, dude, I kind of liked CSI when I was a kid.
Sure.
But then I was like, I don't know what you did with this movie. I don't know who told you this was a good idea. This made sense. I'm like, stop it. You need to
stop making sequels.
But
although
also
I will say, so our generation, Star Wars, Star Trek, and then we had Tron.
Okay.
I was a Tron girl.
Okay.
Like big time. Obsessed.
Yeah.
I have the like 20th anniversary edition. So when I heard they were doing a remake, I was like, no.
Stop it.
No, we're not. We're not making a sequel. No, leave it alone. Yeah. But then I heard Jeff Daniels was coming back for it, and I thought,
okay, maybe.
Okay.
You're like, all right, I'm open-minded.
I'm withholding judgment.
Yeah.
So my husband took me to go see the movie, and I literally sat there fully prepared for it to just be an absolute dumpster fire.
Right.
And I kept thinking, don't fuck up my childhood.
Like, please don't do
Please
this to
don't
me.
do this to my childhood. Because as much as I love Star Wars and Star Trek, I love Tron. I had the little motorcycle thingies. I loved, you know, totally obsessed. Oh my God, it was so good. Holy shit, it was good.
I didn't
was
see it.
so relieved.
I'll have to check it out.
Oh God, it
That's
was fantastic.
Yeah?
I bought it the day it came out on DVD.
You're like, I need this.
Yes.
Yeah.
So they're making a third one, and it's got Jared Leto in it, and now I'm like,
interesting. I'm hit or miss with it. I'm honestly hit or miss. What was that, Morbius or something? That was some ridiculous.
I haven't seen it yet.
Okay, there were so many memes about it.
Was it bad?
It was so bad that the comedic genius on the internet thrived.
So is it bad, like it's a good movie that's really bad that you go in and you know it's bad and you enjoy it because it's bad, or is it like you go in and you expecting it to be good and it's really awful?
You ever see a movie where you realize that halfway through, everyone in the movie realized that the entire thing is going to hell, and then they kind of stop trying because if you take yourself too seriously, it's going to really damage you? That's this movie. Mm-hmm. Yeah, like it was, and you could tell from the acting, like it was just one bad idea to the next, and the actors knew it.
Yes.
Yeah, but it's a lot of fun to watch.
I love a good disaster movie. Like,
ooh, okay.
Like really.
Okay, I grew up with like Dante's Peak. There was one with Pierce Brosnan with a volcano, and then there's one with Tommy Lee Jones with a volcano in Los Angeles or something.
Yeah, oh God, they're awful. Dante's Peak is the one with Pierce Brosnan.
Maybe because I was 7 or 8 years old.
Oh no,
I was
they're
like,
fantastic.
These are the best movies ever made.
There is a movie called Sky something.
Skyscraper?
No. It's an alien movie. Oh. And I gotta remember what it was.
Skyrim?
No, that's a great game though. But anyway, so I went with Michelle and her husband, and then at the time my husband, who's now my ex-husband. We went because I love disaster movies.
Yeah.
And it was one of those about 30 minutes in, you knew that this was just going to be awful.
No, it's not.
And we started laughing our way through the entire movie, like just giggling, and it was awful.
Yes.
It was awful.
I'll tell you, if you're watching a terrible movie and you're stuck with it, here's a fun game you can play with family and friends. You buy a fake mustache at any costume store and you put it somewhere on the TV.
The minute that comes...
Every time it lines up with someone's face, you drink.
So we did that.
You can get through any movie like this.
We did that with like... You drink when it's the patriotic speech to rally the troops at the end, you know? You drink when it's the bad guy who becomes the good guy because he saves the day when he finally gets, you know, his humanity back. Hello.
Busy day, huh?
Yes, every day. You know, you drink...
You got like a sheet you keep with.
Yes.
It's like, okay.
Of all these stereotypical things that happen in disaster movies.
Yes.
And so, you'd be drunk by the end of the movie.
The close calls, you're like, oh, this is a great movie.
Yeah,
it might be the tequila.
So awful.
It might be the tequila.
But I love all of them. The best one for me, though, my poor beleaguered husband will watch these movies with me sometimes as a gift to me because he hates them, but he knows I love them so much.
We'll do this.
We watched Moonfall, and the best part of that movie was watching his face. Jesus Christ, the fuck am I watching?
God, okay, I rewatched Starship Troopers the other day.
Oh,
and I was
God, that movie's awful.
I was like, I shouldn't have been watching this when I was 5.
No,
like, this is a brutal film. I was like, Grandma,
I watched Indiana Jones and the not the Holy Grail.
Ark of the Covenant.
Yeah. I watched the Raiders of the Lost Ark when I was like 6 and had nightmares for months about melted faces.
That's how I felt about Beetlejuice. I couldn't deal with Beetlejuice, but it was like my brother.
The sequel sucked.
I believe it. I'm like, I'm not interested. That's another one that's like, we don't need to bring it back.
I wanted so badly for it to be good.
Daylight come.
Oh, it sucked.
No, I saw that from a mile away. I was like, why are we doing this?
I went into it going,
No.
okay.
We're not doing all that.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was one that I watched way too young. And it was like, I have an older brother and then my grandma. And they were like, oh, this is what they want to watch. So I was watching it. And no wonder I'm such a disturbed adult.
I think 80s and 90s, like late 80s, or, you know, late 70s, early 80s kids, we had an unhinged, chaotic childhood of bullshit.
Yeah, okay.
Just, you want to watch Melted Faces? Sure, fuck it. Go ahead.
Yeah, it's like the Latchkey Kids or something generation. You're like,
very much so.
TV will babysit you.
Oh, yeah.
On,
Read
like...
Flowers in the Attic. You're 7. It'll be fine.
Okay, my mom loves that one.
Oh, God. It is an incestuous dumpster fire.
Yeah, okay.
All of them. Like, all of them. And, I think back, I'm like, who the hell let me read that?
You're like, wait, you should have pulled that out of my hands. You're like,
yes.
You're like, I don't know, that was... Yeah.
Yeah, because they're awful. They're awful.
Dark.
They're just awful.
But still.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. There was a lot of, sometimes I look at, cartoons I grew up with. And I was like, these are not for kids.
No.
These are wild.
I used to watch Golden Girls with my grandmother. And I didn't get what she was laughing at. And I have now gone back and rewatched the entire thing as an adult going... Oh my God!
This
is one long dick joke.
There's just never God, 8 seasons or whatever.
Yes,
however many seasons.
It is so freaking funny. Holy crap! I love SpongeBob SquarePants. I watched some of that, and it's like
some of it is you're like, oh, interesting. You're like
that's a lot. Ren and Stimpy.
Okay.
I had no business watching Ren and Stimpy.
Wild stuff. Yeah, the Angry Beavers,
the Root Fairy, the Ren and Stimpy, where he would sing the song and he'd pull the roots out of his gums to hand to the Root Fairy.
No wonder we all have nightmares and need Ambien. No wonder we're all twisted, man. Yeah.
Oh.
Some of that stuff should not have been on the air.
I wish they'd bring Eon Flux back. MTV's Liquid Television. It was... You got The Brack Show, you got Eon Flux, you got Space Ghost Coast to Coast.
Okay, I do remember Space Ghost.
Yeah, all of that stuff came out of MTV's Liquid Television.
Interesting.
And I swear to God, I was not high. But if anybody ever watched that, they would have remembered a show called Syphil and Ollie, which was this...
terrible name.
Oh, it was awful.
Okay.
It's these 2 sock puppets. Named Syphil and Ollie. And a guest show puppet named Chester that had flower petals around for its eyes and always acted like he acted like the guy that you would hang out with in college that partook way too much of his stash.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was just, you would be sitting there laughing your face off. And I have now since gone back and watched it and it still makes me laugh. It's so weird.
Yeah. There's some interesting ones out there.
How much pot did they smoke to come up with that? Because it's literally 2 guys with sock puppets that they've sewn eyes on doing whole things.
You know what I always wonder, because any project, right? There's we have the idea, and then there's the investment. There's the suits.
Yeah.
So how the hell did these guys go to a conference room with the suits and be like, we need funding for the show? What are you gonna do? And it's okay. They got their, and the suits are well. It's pretty low budget. We can give it a try. It's not going to cost us a lot to say yes.
But it was hilarious.
It was just wild shit.
It was so stupid.
Yeah, I believe it.
That you would just be like, why am I watching this? This is so weird. Here?
Oh, God.
All of that stuff.
TV was different.
Yes.
Yeah. I don't know. I might keep the TV away from my kid.
Yeah.
We'll stick with books.
Well,
anyway, I was The Hungry Caterpillar.
Yes.
I love The Hungry Caterpillar.
Oh, it's a great book.
That's fun. I
sure.
Into that. I'm
but he eats himself until he explodes into a butterfly.
Explodes into a butterfly. And that's basically the path. That's a metaphor for life. That's the journey we're all on.
Yes.
Eat yourself to death until you explode into a butterfly.
Yeah, what is the joke? Feed me tacos and tell me I'm pretty.
It sounds like something my wife would write.
Yeah, that's just what you need to do. Feed me tacos and tell me I'm pretty, and I will be happy.
The advice every husband needs.
Yes.
To have a great marriage. Simple.
Oh, Madam Crystal knew. That show was like a fever dream. So it's not just me. She knew. See? It wasn't just me. Syphil and Ollie. Thank you. I knew I wasn't making that show up.
Ridiculous name for a show.
It was so stupid.
Syphil.
I want to be in the room when South Park got pitched.
Okay, 100%. Those guys are geniuses. I do not know how they... Mm-hmm. I mean, they have just, divergent thinking patterns.
I want to know, how did Ren and Stimpy get past the mark?
Oh, I have no idea. At least South Park is on Comedy Central. It's not necessarily pitched as a kid show, even though kids love it.
Oh my god!
Did you ever see the thing where those guys took acid and wore dresses and went to the Academy Awards or something?
Yes.
Those guys are incredible. They are legends. They are legends.
What was this song from them that got an Academy Award?
I think it was from Team America World Police
yeah,
or something.
Yeah. And I just remember going, how?
Yeah, how? Huh. These guys.
Sure.
Yeah.
Why not?
I love those
It's
guys.
like that scene in any Jason Bateman movie where he just goes, okay, this is what we're doing. All right, let's go.
Basically.
Yes.
Like, okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
And people approved this and they actually went ahead and made it.
Yeah. Because I look back on some of our shows and it was like, what?
Yeah.
Who the hell let me watch this?
Oh.
And so, like, we grew up with Bill Cosby, right?
Yeah.
My best friend's kid was trying to tell her something and he couldn't come up with the name. And he goes, the Jello rapey guy. And we knew exactly who he was talking about.
No, it's the pudding. It's the pudding.
The pudding rapey guy. And she and I both looked at him and went, I mean, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. Yeah.
That is wild. That is a wild... God, and that guy... That was one of the most heartbreaking ones, because like,
I'm so tired of knowing about people.
Okay, that's the thing. That's never put people on a pedestal.
Yeah, no,
never ever.
Ever.
If you know,
God.
If you put any person on a pedestal, you will have your
like
core.
Kevin Spacey.
I
have loved every movie that Kevin Spacey has ever been in, and now I can't watch them.
Tremendously talented actor, very disturbed human.
I don't want to know about anything. Neil Gaiman, Joss Whedon, that right there is my childhood.
Right. And don't come after Mr. Rogers, no matter what.
I swear to God,
leave him alone.
If y'all ruin Mr. Rogers for me.
Because like I grew up with Blue's Clues. That guy was a pervert. Pee Wee Herman.
Was he really?
Yeah, he got okay. I always mix him up with Pee Wee Herman. One of them.
Pee Wee Herman is the one who got busted whacking his whacker in the movie theater.
Other one got beat up by a hooker.
I'm sorry.
So the Blue's Clues guy.
How does a hooker beat you up?
It's the Blue's Clues guy. He wasn't lifting weights. He was just looking for clues.
But isn't that the guy that's on TikTok that checks in with everybody and everybody loves him for it?
OJ?
No.
OJ. Okay, OJ was on Twitter. He was like, "Come on to Twitter world."
No.
You didn't see that? OJ Simpson.
I have a picture of me sitting on OJ Simpson's lap as a very little girl when he
back in the Naked Gun days when he was like America's...
And he was in the Nashville airport and my dad. And I swear to God, if I can ever find the picture, I'm gonna blow it up.
Just get rid of it.
No,
or just
I'm gonna blow it up and I met a serial killer.
Oh yeah, and now I own bookstore full of dragons and I'm writing. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's been an interesting journey from a young age, right?
Yes. Although people who've known me for more than half my life look at the stuff that I say and kind of goes, huh, yeah.
Yeah, that tracks.
So, speaking of, I have discovered that my face has subtitles and that I'm about to be a meme because we went to the school board meeting the other night.
Okay.
If you go back and you watch it, the reactions of my face are hilarious.
Ooh.
Because at one point, there's one point where Matt Fee talks about, well, I guess that's what we're doing now because we're also supporting, these are the same people that are supporting a rapist in the White House. And you just see my face go, oh!
You're like, yeah.
So, yes, I have.
You're going to be a meme.
Yes,
pretty soon.
Apparently, the people who were watching the video were texting me, you need to fix your face.
You're too expressive.
Yes, eyebrows and eye rolling and, oh, for God's sake, and they're like, you need to sit one seat over and we're going to put a Lindsay cam every time they have a school board meeting so that I'm like, oh, and I didn't think it was that bad until I went back and rewatched it and it was just.
Oh, yeah, I'm wearing it on my sleeve here.
Jesus, okay.
So we should play poker sometime because you're like,
oh no, I suck at poker.
That's the point. It's
I will just hand you the money and be like, let me just save you the time.
Your eyebrows are telling me everything here.
Yeah, no. I would be like the one where Kim Kardashian wore the mirrored sunglasses at a poker game.
Oh, yeah, that's what you got to do.
Yeah, I would just be like, you could see her cards in the freaking sunglasses.
Oh.
Yeah, I was just like, see, that would be some dumb crap I would do. I have absolutely no poker face at all. And if I think you're stupid, my mouth won't say it, but my face will.
Right. Listen, you're saying one thing, but your face is telling me completely different.
When I was working at Verizon, they were like, you want to go work at a store today? Y'all don't want me in a store.
Yeah.
Why not? Because I'll get fired.
Like, listen, I shouldn't be in front of.
I'm not a public facing person.
You own a store.
Yes, and I'm perfectly nice and happy in here.
Within my
Within my
realm,
domain.
within my.
But
Yes.
if you come bringing some bullshit in here, it's gonna be on my face.
Yeah, I'm bad at that too. Honestly, I've been fired several times at jobs for telling the truth. Like, you walk in and you tell the truth, and people don't. There's constructive ways to tell the truth,
Yes.
and
then there's.
and I haven't always.
What is wrong with you?
There's also like, listen, this isn't the right way to tell us.
Yeah.
That, like, hey, this product sucks. And
yes.
Yeah.
My friend Amanda is constantly like, girl, fix the face. And I'm like, the face does not get fixed. This is my face.
Yeah.
If you're being stupid, you're going to get the face.
Like, it was good. And that reminds me somehow of COVID. There were some people that I saw every day wearing a mask for years, like at the coffee shop.
Sure.
And then one day you see them without the mask and you have no idea what people look like. You're like,
yeah.
Wow. Like, I guess my face filled in the gaps, but got it wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're like, my mind filled in the gaps. So I'm like, oh.
I tend to cut my eyes at people a whole lot.
I could see that. Are you like when you're driving? Are you very like hands and horn and That's a yes. That was a yes, 100%. You're like, yeah, no, I'm all hands. I turn into Italian when I'm driving.
You know what? If people would go the speed limit and use their flipping turn signals, maybe people wouldn't have that problem.
Why are you hitting the brakes?
Oh my god!
Yeah,
people can't drive in this. Oh my god! Yeah. Of course, it probably doesn't help that I'm listening to things like Dragzilla or Dragula by Rob Zombie in the car and that kind of stuff.
Like, yeah.
Because I tend to listen to the music that's all.
Yeah, and you're like, I sort of drive like
every single ticket that I have ever gotten, I just happen to be listening to Led Zeppelin.
You're like, sorry, but not like the mellow Led Zeppelin. Not Stairway to Heaven.
No, like Whole Lot of Love and, when the levee breaks and...
Oh, that's a good one.
It's my favorite Led Zeppelin song.
That's a really good
because of that intro guitar.
Oh, so good.
There's just...
Yeah.
What's your favorite car movie? You seem like a car guy.
I'm not a car guy.
Really?
No.
Oh my god.
Okay, funny story.
Okay.
I took my mom. I had to go to Lexington the other day. My mom had a little surgery thing. It was like just kind of checking stuff out. I forget what they call that. Anyway, she had to do anesthesia. So she comes out and she's like telling the nurses, like, first of all, my mom is an aeronautical engineer and like an actual trained rocket scientist. So comes out of anesthesia and is telling the nurses, I'm a rocket scientist. And they're like, sure you are, sweetheart.
Sure,
everyone coming out of anesthesia is a rocket scientist. Okay.
No, but she really is.
No, it's like, she actually is. It's not just the drugs talking, but she is high as a kite, but it's not just the drugs talking. And then she's like, this is my son. He's an author. And then she was like telling like how proud. He's like, I haven't read any of his stuff, but he's an author and they're really good books. And I'm like, okay, cool. This is like the truth is coming out. We're talking.
Sure.
I take her to the car. My car is like, my hubcaps have fallen off. Like, my car looks ridiculous. And I don't mind. I like old cars with a lot of miles on them. I like baby them up to 250,000. And then she's like, looks up in there. She's like, he's a famous author, but it doesn't pay that well. And like, it was one of those things. We're going to be laughing about it forever at the Thanksgiving table. Like, he's a great author, but it doesn't pay that well.
Yeah, no. I became a car person when I was 10 years old, and I watched Bullet with Steve McQueen.
Oh, yeah.
When that Mustang Fastback crests the hill and sits there and makes that like boom, 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 that idling noise, and then that high squeal of the engine when he takes off.
Yes.
That was it.
Yes.
If I ever win the lottery, and I'm talking like a stupid ass, like multi-billion-dollar kind of, I'm buying an OG Carroll Shelby Mustang.
Ooh, okay.
Not a remake.
The real thing.
I want the real thing.
Yeah. There's a scenario where I become a car guy. Like when this author thing comes together. There was one time I have an uncle owned a fishing resort. He had this big barn. And one day he took me in the barn and there was a car under a cover. And he took the cover off and it was this beautiful like 69 Camaro. Gorgeous, stunning, immaculate condition. See? No one was driving it. He was holding it for his son. No one's touched it for years. But I was like, that car has been calling my name ever since.
I mean...
Yeah.
Yeah, I would get a Carroll Shelby Mustang, and I want it to be green. Gotta be green.
Okay.
Black leather interior with the smoke vents.
We like it.
Right? I want an International Scout.
I don't know. What is that?
Okay. Think of like, do you ever see, oh God, I'm trying to think of a movie. Did you ever see the movie Desperado with
No.
Danny? Okay. Did you ever see them? Oh God, I'll show you a picture. It's like a Jeep on steroids.
Okay.
Think of like a truck, but you can take the top off.
Okay.
And it has a roll bar.
I'm into that.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
And I don't care if it looks janky.
Like,
as long as the engine works.
Yeah, I want this thing.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
I want one of those.
Yeah. We got to make it big.
Yes. Very famous so that I can buy a car. 1969 Mustang is Blake Edward. He's on TikTok. That's a beautiful car. I also want the car that Cary Grant drives in To Catch a Thief.
I never saw that one either.
I'm going to make a list.
Yeah, because I'm trying to raise my son and write books. I actually just have not been watching TV. Haven't been checking the news. I'm like, I got my own vibe. I got my own little world.
I grew up watching classics with my mom.
Yeah.
That's just what we did. And I'm a movie purist, though,
I saw the original Godfather for the first time on Christmas Day.
I love that movie so much.
But that was one of those where I've gone 33 years. I'm like, I've never seen the Godfather. And people are like,
what?
You're dead to me.
Okay, so here's the thing about the Godfather. There are movies. And then there are films.
Ooh. Yeah. Okay.
The
I
Godfather
understand that distinction.
is a film.
Yeah.
Because when he made that movie, no one had ever made a movie like that ever in the history of film. No one had ever made the mafia look enticing.
Okay.
And the lines, I know every single line of that movie.
Yeah. Oh, it was outstanding.
Have you seen the second movie yet?
I saw part of the third. Way back.
Okay, well, I can't talk about the second one yet.
Well, you can. I mean, it's been out for decades. You can.
So,
spoilers are okay.
Sonny dies in the second movie, right?
I thought Sonny died in the first movie.
No, he dies in the second movie. Yeah.
Was he the one who gets shot up in the car booth?
Mm-hmm.
So maybe I saw one.
Oh my God! And I love James Caan so much. And when I saw the second movie, I remember going, "This is bullshit."
I'm leaving. Oh, I'm staying, but I'm pissed.
Oh, I was pissed.
Yeah.
Because Sonny was the only one I really liked.
Yeah, he was a good character. Hothead.
I love that he beat the ever-living shit
out of Rocky's wife.
Yes. No. Out of the husband of.
Oh yeah.
Because she played his sister, and the guy she married was beating the crap, and he took a trash can lid and beat him half to death, and I was like, yeah.
See, I didn't even see that. So it was just Christmas Day. My father-in-law had it on, and I was like cooking the prime rib, and I was just like watching the scene where like. It was Rocky Balboa's wife, and I should know this actress.
Adrian, yeah.
Adrian, I should know her.
That's not her name in the movie, but yeah.
She's great, right? But I know her from Rocky.
I love Rocky movies.
But he was just like chasing her around the house, and she's yelling and breaking stuff, and I was like, God, this is the most Italian thing I've ever seen.
I mean, you're not wrong.
Like, oh my goodness.
I love the Rocky movies.
Okay,
I have
that's
every
one that is
single movie on DVD, including the Creed movies. Every single one.
Nice. Yeah, the Creed ones.
I'm going to get a tattoo of the boxing gloves.
Okay, as an indie author, I will tell you that Sylvester Stallone's story inspires me greatly. So for people who don't know this, this is
an amazing story.
He had, and I don't know the full story for sure. I just know
a 1991 Chevy S10 long bed is his dream car. That's Joe on TikTok. Nice. That's a good car too.
Sounds amazing. So anyway, Sylvester Stallone had this idea for the Rocky movie, and he was like broke, living out of his car. He was doing some adult films to pay the bills, and he found someone who would make this Rocky movie, but they wanted to do it like their way with their own actors, and he's like, no, screw it. Like, this is my dream. I'm going to be the one. And somehow he managed to produce this film, like star in it, produce it, create it, make it real.
It won an Academy Award.
Right. And it has created this entire phenomenon. He's obviously had one of the most successful careers of anyone in Hollywood, but he had to fight so hard for his dream. And it's like, no, I'm going to star in it. I'm going to like film it when I can, like all this kind of stuff.
I love that movie.
Oh, it's
a part of my DNA.
No, for sure. Yeah.
I've seen every single. There's some days where I don't feel good, so I'll just have a Rocky marathon and watch every single one of them.
You get hyped up. You're like, all right, anything's possible. And I mean, like the literal Rocky story is like symbol for like Sylvester Stallone's
Oh, absolutely.
Story. Just this.
Well, it's a symbol for everybody.
Right.
I love the underdog.
We're all underdogs, right? Like all of us succeeding is kind of unlikely in a lot of ways. We're all unlikely people who get chances and find greatness and in places where maybe Yeah.
I think that's probably why I lean so hard into local authors and independently published authors, because I had people telling me all through high school that I wasn't smart enough to go to college and that I should get a what do they call them, a working man's job.
Okay, like
Blue collar
yeah.
job, because I wasn't smart enough to go to college.
Interesting.
It took me 9 years to get my undergraduate because I had to work full time. So I had at least 4 jobs while going to school full time.
Fought hard for the dream.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I graduated, and I also partied a whole lot, admittedly.
Yeah, college is...
But then I got my master's degree with a 3.8 GPA, and the only reason I had a 3.8 is because I had to take statistics, or else I would have had a 4.0.
Yeah, okay.
And oh, you know, you're not smart enough to go to school. Okay,
like,
really?
I'll show you.
Yeah, you can't run your own bookshop. Okay, really?
Right.
It won't be successful. Okay, just keep underestimating me. That'll be fun.
Yeah.
So when someone says I wrote a book, cool, let's get it in the shop.
Like,
you haven't even read it. I don't care.
No, we're all a bunch of beat up Rocky Balboas, but
yes,
damn it,
absolutely.
put us in the ring. We're ready to
fight. Just like, how can I help you? Cool. Well, you haven't even read the book. You don't know what it's about. Did you write it? Yeah, cool. We're gonna put it in the shop.
Yeah, which I appreciate a lot.
I don't need to read it. You wrote it. It's creative. You did something not many people can do. Let's give you the shot to do it.
Yeah, for any authors watching, you know, it's like 1 in 8,000 people this year is going to write a book. So if you publish a book this year, you have already done an extraordinary thing.
I will help you get it on a bookshelf.
Right, but you are already 1 in 8,000.
Yep.
If you write and publish a book this year.
Yep.
So like, you know, imagine being 1 in 8,000 in anything. Like, none of us would take those odds anywhere. Like a lottery ticket or... I mean,
well,
whatever,
and here's the other thing. Okay, so let's look at what I have in here. Okay.
Yeah.
You have Tabitha Bolden, who managed to take Frankenstein and Alice in Wonderland and put it together in a book that I think is fabulous.
Yeah.
Would absolutely watch that movie.
Hell yeah.
You've got Jennifer L. Burroughs, who wrote a Christian fiction with dragons and good versus evil, and it's Christian fiction, but it's pretty dark. I would absolutely watch that.
Sounds very original, too.
Sure, absolutely.
Yeah.
You have stuff like A Song That Never Ends, which is a multi-generational what do you call it, a duology by Mark Gibson.
Mm-hmm.
And he'll tell you, one of the main characters, you start out loving her, and by the end of the series, you absolutely despise her.
Interesting.
I would love to see why. You know what I mean?
You're just playing with your emotions.
And then you've got like Legacy of Rebirth by Andrew Bickford, which is a D&D fantasy story.
Yeah.
But look, it's a brick.
It's big.
Right? And then you've got stuff like Frostbitten by Dietrich Stogner.
I love that cover.
Right.
Call him a name.
That is if Gladiator and The Walking Dead had a threesome with the frozen tundra, that's what came out.
Okay.
And he does that thing that Stephen King does where it's just enough to feed your imagination, and then he moves on, and your imagination is still sitting here going, oh my God!
Right.
You know?
Let the reader fill in some of the gaps.
And then you've got Dan Klefstad, who has a vampire novel, but instead of it being a man going after a woman, it's a woman going after a man, and she's a badass.
Interesting.
Right?
I'm into that.
Thank you.
I'm into that.
And
then you got this G. Edward Martin guy.
Oh, yeah.
And there's a cover, it's got a guy drinking beers.
I love the fact that you have a dragon with a big horn out the front, like a rhino, and a dude that looks like Papa Morgan drinking a beer with him. I just think that's like hilarious.
Oh, that's a good... Okay, so...
let me get the cover. Y'all are going to die. Hang on.
So, I was listening last night. So, this one...
Tell me this cover is not hilarious.
First place winning book right here.
Look at this.
2023.
I want to be friends with that dude.
Best Book Awards.
I want to pet the dragon.
First place novella.
I just
Nobody
think
Fought
that's
a Dragon.
hilarious.
So, that came out of my first book, which is it's 12 short stories. It's called 13 Acorns. So I was listening to the audiobook last night because I found a guy on ACX to produce it.
Okay.
And he sent me the final thing for me to like approve it.
Okay.
So I was listening to the story last night actually. And it was like one of these things, I wrote it a couple of years ago and haven't looked at it in a minute. And it was like, damn, that's pretty good. Like sometimes you hear your own stuff later and you like forget it's yours and you hear it with fresh ears as if someone else made it. Yeah.
I've been re-editing my novel.
Yeah. And
I've gone through and I'm trying to tweak some of it, and I'll read some and I'm like, damn, that's pretty good.
You're like, shit, okay.
Go me.
I would read that. Yeah, if someone else wrote it, I'd be like, ooh.
Well, I mean, and that's how I got started because I
Yeah.
started using AI to do D&D scenarios to feed
Okay.
my DM.
Yeah.
And then I went back and read it like a week later and thought, this is actually a pretty good story.
Yeah, it's not bad.
So I copied everything into a Word document, deleted everything that AI had written because I don't want to do that.
Yeah, I don't want to cross that line.
Yeah. And I went back and I'm like 300 pages in, 59 chapters, which I'm sure it's going to end up more because I'm tweaking them. But it was just, and I did it in about a month because I started writing and I could not quit.
That's how you know.
I'd be standing in Walmart typing on the document.
Okay, there are stories that flow onto a page. There's stories you fight really hard to write.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's ones where you get an idea, like Truth and Evil. I basically wrote the entire first draft in a day.
Okay.
And it came out about 12,000 words, the first draft.
Okay.
I did it in just one, not even a day. It was like an evening. I got home from work and I was like, oh, we're writing this damn thing. And I stayed up late as hell, just like, I can't stop. Mm-hmm. And I was like, I got to get on. And then you refine it. You do a lot of work from there. But the ones that flow onto paper oftentimes are your best ones. They just like pour out of you and they come together. And you're like, damn, you know. But every book has a weird journey for how it.
Well, I know exactly. Well, the ending of my first book is setting up the ending for book 3.
That's that's already kind of a
like unique. I knew exactly how that was going to end.
Yeah.
And it's a bit tropey, but it's the only way it could have ended to set it up for the way that I wanted to end in book 3.
Right.
There was literally no other way for me to do it.
Yeah.
You know,
it's kind of interesting. It's different, like, 1 is setting up 3 and then...
Yes, and 2 is going to be... So, whoop, there. I hate that little puzzle thing on there. There we go.
At least it's easy. Some of the recaptions are like...
Oh, my God.
Which one has a motorcycle and there's, like, a little bit of a tire in it? And you're like, oh.
Do I click that?
Like, I don't know if that counts.
Well, I could sit and talk with you all day.
Yes.
You know, but we are hitting our hour mark, and so I am gonna. I know it goes by so fast. That's what I love about talking to people about books.
Yes.
You never know where it's gonna go.
We talk about everything but books.
That's kind of what I love about it, though.
Yeah, you never know what it's gonna be.
Absolutely.
You never know what it's gonna be.
Well, thank you very, very much, and guys, thank you so much for tuning in to episode 3. And you should definitely follow G. Edward Martin on all the socials because his writing is amazing and he's hilarious.
Thank you. So, yeah, just really quick, I'm on TikTok as author G. Edward Martin, I think.
I think so, yeah.
G. Edward Martin
something like that.
Yeah. I've got my own author podcast, and then I've got like a personal growth, personal development podcast that we talk about spirituality and faith and entrepreneurship and all kinds of things. And then I'm on basically all the socials. So, like, if you look for me, I am easy to find. I'm very visible.
I love it. Thank you guys so much, and tune in to our next episode next week. I'm not going to tell you who the guest is because I don't know yet, but we'll find out.
Ooh, we shall see.
Yes. Have a great day, you guys.
Yeah. Thank you, everybody.
Bye.